Hello everyone and welcome back to Beatley Tones Beatles channel. Lovely to have you here. Thanks for joining me for this video. Hope you're all doing well. As you know, if you've watched this channel for any amount of time, you know that I really like to be able to bring you breaking news as and when it happens, and I've had some today. I want to thank subscribers John Bazzini and Pete Perseus-Seppi. I hope that's the right way to pronounce your name. I apologise if it's not, but it was a best efforts attempt for giving me the heads up on this one. But we have had news. Sean Lennon has announced that the one-to-one concert will be coming out as a box set in October, on or around his birthday, and of course John's birthday, October the 9th. So I'll come back to that in a minute now, and where that information came from. But just to put everything into sort of perspective, it's like a really busy time for for John Lennon fans at the moment. There's a lot happening in a year that we thought that there wouldn't be too much happening after last year's sort of paraphernalia around Mind Games. We thought it might be a quiet year from the Lennon camp, but not so much. And there's also John Lennon stuff coming not from the Lennon camp as well. So as you probably know already, did a video a few weeks ago, Record Store Day, April the 12th, there is an EP coming out called Power to the People, which contains 4 tracks that have been remixed by Sean and Paul Hicks from the one-to-one concert. That is coming out for Record Store Day, April the 12th. Now, the day before that, April the 11th, the one-to-one movie, that thing up there, it goes on general release in cinemas, theatres around the world. Now, a couple of days before that, on the 9th and 10th, there are preview shows at various cinemas around the world. That is going to be if there's an IMAX near you, they will probably have that. So, and I have managed to get tickets for the IMAX show in London, the preview show on the 9th. I've actually got them for the 10th as well. I'm not sure whether I'm going both days, but that's another story that I don't need to tell you about. When I go there on the 9th, there is also a Q&A with the director of the one-to-one film, Kevin McDonald. So that should be really interesting. So obviously, I'll be going to that on the 10th of April, which is the day before the general release of the film. I will be doing a video telling you what I thought of the film, what happened at the Q&A, what Kevin McDonald had to say about the film. Now, in addition to that, there is a second movie coming out not 5 weeks later, in fact less than, I think about a month later, on the 2nd of May, Alan G. Parker's documentary Borrowed Time, the last decade of John Lennon's life, that is going on general release, but at the moment that date only applies to the UK. It will go on general release in other territories as well, just don't have any details of official dates. And you may remember a few months ago, I did an interview with Alan G. Parker, the director, and he told us lots about the film. If you wanna know more about the film, you didn't see that video, it is there on the channel. You can go and watch it. And if you don't live near a cinema and you want to see the Borrowed Time movie, it is going to DVD and Blu-ray almost immediately. I think that the release date for that is the 9th of June, so like a month later it's going out, and the version that comes out on DVD and Blu-ray will have extra material that isn't in the main film. They've got a director's cut which is several hours long, so that is something to look forward to as well. But I want to really concentrate on the one-to-one concert and the news that has come out. So, as I said, the EP is coming out for Record Store Day, and Sean Lennon has done an interview on a Record Store Day podcast with Paul Myers, and this podcast lasts about an hour and 20 minutes, but only the last 35 minutes is Sean's part. So if you want to go and listen to it, and there will be a link to it down in the description, and I thank John Bazzini for sending me the link. You can go and watch it, and but if you just want to hear Sean's bit, then just skip to about 35 minutes from the end to hear his full interview. And it's a really interesting interview where he talks about the remixing process and the problems that they had, particularly with the afternoon show, where he talks about trying to sync up two drummers that were out of time with each other as one of the difficulties. And obviously, there's a lot of mistakes. It was the afternoon show was a little bit of a loose show by all accounts, and I know that Elephant's Memory were not happy about so many songs from the afternoon show being put out on the John Lennon Live in New York City album in 1986. Anyway, so he talks about that. He talks a little bit about his mum and the treatment that she has. I don't want to tell you too much about it, because if you want to listen to it, I don't want to spoil it for you. But some interesting, things that, sort of, he was talking about how, generally, not completely, but generally, opinions of Yoko have changed over the years, and he said, there's still some people that that still believe that Yoko split up the Beatles, but when Paul McCartney comes out and say Yoko didn't split up the Beatles, and people still believe that she split up the Beatles, then they've got a bit of a problem. And that was Sean's take on that. But it is an interesting interview, definitely worth listening to, and he talks about all the things, not all the things but some of the things that are in the film. Lots of telephone conversations. Remember at the time, John and Yoko were still living in Bank Street. They weren't in the Dakota yet. And telephone transcripts. He talks specifically about a telephone call with Alan Klein, which is quite amusing. He also talks about why John and Yoko fell out with Jerry Rubin, why they wanted to disassociate themselves from him after being so into sort of promoting him and his radical thinking and stuff like that. So interesting interview. As I say, there's a link to it down in the description if you want to watch it. Go to about 35 minutes from the end. Now, at the end of this interview, this is the important bit. Sean says that in October, either on or around John's birthday, which is also Sean's birthday, obviously, there will be a box set of all the music from the one-to-one concert. So we can assume from that, the fact that it's a box set, not a single album, that we're talking about both shows remixed, coming out in the box set. But will there be anything extra in that as well? Because obviously, if you want people to buy a box set, you've got to pad it out with something else. Or will there be like maybe rehearsal songs in there as well? Will that song be included? Because obviously they did it on the night and the afternoon show. Will that song be included? That'll be interesting to see. If it is, then we know that the reason that sometime in New York City, Ultimate Mixes that was announced early in 2022 and then cancelled, the reason for it being cancelled wasn't the presence of that song. There was some other reason, and the other reason that I suspect is, because they didn't think it would be commercially viable. They didn't think enough people would buy it, because obviously, Sometime in New York City has been re-released many, many times, and that song has always been on it. So, I don't think that is the problem. But it's interesting to know. Now, obviously, this is just Sean on a podcast saying that this is coming out in October, and there is nothing official at the moment because October is a long way off, so there won't be an official announcement of this probably until late summer. I wouldn't have thought. So we won't know the exact track listing, what's included, whether there's a book, what the actual deal is. We won't know that until much later in the year. But the good news is that it is coming out, and that's what we want. I'm a little bit precautious. Because, as I say, with Some Time in New York City, we got the website, telling us it was coming out in June 2022, and then it was cancelled. So until we get the official announcement, it's not official as far as I'm concerned. But we've had it from the horse's mouth that it is coming out. So hopefully that, they stay true to their word, and we do get that in October. Now, obviously, I will be all over everything that is coming out, the one-to-one movie, the Borrowed Time movie. I'm hoping to get Alan G. Parker on the on the show to talk to him, get an interview with him, which will be really great. When I did speak to him, I spoke to him on the previously. I spoke to him on the phone, and he promised that he would come on the show and do an interview nearer the time of the release. So I'm hoping that he keeps that promise and he comes on the show, which is, it'll be great to talk to him. We can find out lots about the Borrowed Time movie. So obviously I will be all over that. I will be all over the Record Store Day release on the 12th of April as well, and obviously soon as there is any definite news with details about the one-to-one concert box sets, you will hear it on this channel. So please stay tuned for that. If you're not subscribed to this channel, please consider supporting the channel by subscribing, and you won't miss a thing. Okay, well, that is pretty much it from me. Thanks very much for watching. If you want to talk about this news, please do so down in the comments. I read all your comments, and I will respond to all your comments and say thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I'll see you all very soon. Bye-bye.